You can win cash and earn credits just by clicking the link below and signing up for kill races, solo, duo, last Spartan Standing. It's all on the link below the ZLEAGUE tournament platform. You can earn 500 credits just by signing up through the link below.
All right, everybody, we're going to keep the action rolling here at the LVT coverage of the HCS North American Super Championship. $125,000 on the line, and it starts right here in the pool play. So we just saw that series. Optic taking a solid 3-0 over Forbidden Fruit. Not really a surprise coming out of that series, but we're coming into what could potentially be a tighter matchup when we're looking at the two teams on the screen. Complexity versus Native Gaming, previously known as Crowd Pleasers. That's Kratos, Mines, King J, Iggy. And for game number one is kicking right off. Appreciate these players for not wasting any time so we can get more Halo action on the screen. Now, with that said, Native Gaming actually coming out with the kills on the board. And with it, they have a player trying to go for that B side capture. Kratos trying to stay alive here at the back of B. He's getting pressure from both sides. You see Neuronical on one side and then Monster trapping from the other. So even though Native Gaming do come out with the two zones captured, Complexity not waste any time to make a quick rotation there to re-secure A. Points on the board right now for Native. Kratos leading the way with 3. And then Monster trying to break it up. One player here from Native on planters right below. It's King J, finds himself in a Complexity sandwich, and Monster comes away with a stalker rifle in hand. Looking for that next target. Might have found a shot at the back of A, but no, the grenades find him. Monster taken down. King J playing this corner, sees the drop hole coming through. He has damage on multiple targets, but all of Complexity is here on the A side. Complexity managed to flip B over in their favor as well. So now they're creeping up that scoreboard. It's basically neck and neck after what was a really strong start from Native. Now Mines finds himself in a corner against Monster, and he takes down the kill. I was always told to check under my bed for Monsters, but no, Monsters hanging out there at the top of B pillars, but Mines gets the takedown. So Courage wins out in that fight. Still staying alive on the side of B. A very brief triple cap comes through. I don't know if it was enough to get any of those double points on the board as C goes over to Complexity. Back on board now with Kratos, shotgun in hand, as well as the stalker rifle. All the toys to play with. Popping a quick reload and taking his time. Piggy with the rockets gets enough damage with the first to come out with the assist. 3 players from Complexity now off of the respawn back here in Cafe side. I could guess that one player's rotating back of A. In fact, one player's on A, but Piggy taking some time here. Instead of going for the rocket, that would have been ideally a trade, goes in for the melee, but doesn't connect on that either. Rocket now in the hand of Monster. This rocket bouncing back and forth like a hot potato, but Monster seeing if he can put some work to it, and they need it because Native have run up the scoreboard, now sitting at 110 and counting. We waste no time around here, Tools. We got to keep the action rolling.
Yeah, I am back and I am ready to rumble as we see Native. This Native Gaming roster is so interesting to me, Magic. I don't know what to really expect, but one player I really want to keep my eye out on is Piggy X in particular. Piggy X has been just this up and coming player who's been making wave after wave in the scene.
Yeah, Piggy's playing, you know, a solid game right now. Nothing to like stand out, but as far as an up and coming player, definitely one to keep your eyes on. And I think that Complexity is actually a great test for this Native lineup. You can see it here in game number 1 that Native now have the lead. If this B capture comes through, they're going to be adding to it, and that is your man Piggy coming out with what could be the game shifting capture.
Yeah, Piggy is just an incredible talent, very new to the scene. Started making a little bit of a waves in like 2021 Halo 5 and has just been starting to make a career for himself in 2022 Halo Infinite. Really just been an incredible talent thus far. Whenever he plays in these tournaments, he's just been an absolute beast, and he has the top KD in the Open Series. Yes, Piggy X has the #1 KD in the HCS Open Series.
You know, I'm learning things. I didn't know that about Piggy, and it makes me want to root for him even more. As being someone fairly new to the Halo scene myself, I feel like some camaraderie there. So definitely a player that I want to be rooting for as well. And right now, he's finding himself in what could potentially be a 1v3, but you know, taking those lemons, making lemonade comes out with the trade.
See the fight coming through. Ooh, King J with a big one, as that's going to just alleviate that potential pressure for now. And really, they've just been walking with this, and this is really unexpected because Complexity coming off of game 5 versus EU United looked really great, went up 2-0 in that series. I don't think anyone really expected Native Gaming to come out the doors and just not be close at all. I mean, they just haven't felt any pressure, outslaying, outplaying, out rotating Complexity on every street thus far.
I mean, they came out really strong at the very beginning of the game. Native got that full team wipe right at the open to get the double capture as they rotated over to B side. And ever since then, they look like they're just not letting go of this game. I expected this matchup to be competitive back and forth, but if it was going to be one-sided, I think I probably would have picked it one-sided the other way around.
Right. I don't think anyone expected Native to just kind of beat the doors down like this, and they get this triple capture. It could just be GG. I don't see any way for Complexity to find a response, but they were able to stop C at the nick of time, and Vetra's in at A, but the reset comes through. AB still controlled by Native Gaming.
Only 10 seconds left, and Mines is looking to put the finishing touches on this game. #1, Bulldog comes around the corner, barking, and the clock is going to tick. That is a huge game 1 coming out from this Native lineup.
Yeah, Native, they just played up to their potential. They completely slayed out. Really felt no pressure whatsoever. Really, it was never in question if they were going to win that game. That was just consistency through and through.
I was looking a little bit at the scoreboard. We'll get a closer look here in a minute, but honestly, when it comes to the Native lineup, like, just everybody was playing so well. You see King J coming out with the dozen assists on the board, and then Mines with that 9.7 KDA. It was really every player playing strong right out of the gates, and maybe something for Complexity to think on, and definitely something for them to address moving forward. This is pool play. They need to make those quick adjustments to get back that position that they want in the bracket.
Yeah, it's this is actually such a huge match for Complexity. They choked against EU United. You know, not only were they up 2-0 in that series, they were up in the very final moments of that Slayer in game 5. They lose that series, and now they're feeling the repercussions of it because they can't afford to lose this game. They lose this game, they're probably going to get 3rd place in their pool, and 3rd place, well, that's a start in the elimination bracket.
Yeah, that's definitely not where you expect or want to see Complexity finishing up. But after that, that full reset coming through from EU United, you have to think that maybe that's kind of like just tickling in the back of their minds, like that question mark, maybe questioning themselves and what they can do as a team. And now Native coming out, they played as such a confident team. Like, they knew what they wanted to get done, and they delivered on it. So right now, everything is one-sided in kind of an upset fashion with Native in game 1, but I'm really thankful at this juncture, Tools, that it is a best of 5. So there is time to see which of these teams is the best team to take the series.
Yeah, there's definitely time, right? And this is the great thing about the Super, is everything's best of 5s. You know, no more of this online best of 3. Yeah, they won, but there's an asterisk over it. Like, 5 games is plenty to show who the better team is. And Complexity, they just got the doors beat off of them in game 1. They have to respond in game 2 quickly in order not to feel outclassed.
Feeling outclassed in a position where you come in as the favorite team to win is an uncomfortable position, but I'm hoping that for Complexity, it's not so much about shaking their confidence as much as it is like a motivator. And I feel like in the sports world as well as in the esports world, you find out about that grit that a team has when they come up against adversity. So, I mean, as far as like an observer, as a fan, as a caster, I'm just interested to see what that response is going to be from Complexity. Do they have the grit to fight their way back into this?
I'm gonna say they absolutely do, right? I think that's the thing with Complexity is they absolutely have the talent, the grit to get back in. It's the experience on their side that might be showing. You know, you have Kratos on the other side playing alongside of players like King J. They've been here for a second. They've been playing. On the other side, it's Monsters, your veteran, right? And veteran Ironical Cycle, very new to the scene, very new talent. They're gonna have to find a way to really overcome this adversity with each other. This is the moment where you make yourself an actual team, and it's not just for players who are talented, who like each other, are playing. It's time for you to become teammates.
Well, as far as the start of this game 2 is concerned, Complexity definitely a better start than they had in game number 1, coming out with a slight advantage on the slays, but also the power weapon of the sniper and the overshield in the hands of Vetra. I think they took down the Heatwave player, if I'm not mistaken. So if it comes down to this game 2 testing the grid of Complexity, this is a good start for them so far. A lot of time left to be played out. The trade comes through the back of the tower as Neuronica with the Heatwave didn't get a clean kill, but at least got that trade through.
Hey, Vetra gets the lineup. He has such a steady aim. The sniper, a tool of destruction in his hands, as he was able to get the clean no scope, and already a lead starting to sprout open for Complexity. And as long as they can play trade for trade, they will be fine. But mostly holding this game into the hands of Vetra, as he's the one who has to find the important picks with the sniper.
Yeah, it's interesting that you bring up trade for trade. I mean, it's still early in the game, but you're right. Even at the very opening minutes, the game can be decided unless somebody shifts that storyline. So right now, Complexity looking good, but unfortunately for Vetra, Sniper in the sniper tower at the ready, but the grenades are gonna come through, blast him into oblivion as he get launched off the map.
Love to see Neuronical hit up mud right here, and you're seeing exactly that. Neuronical taking the long route behind tower as Monster cycles his own way, and this is going to create a pinch towards the overshield, and if they both win their fights, this should result in an overshield for Complexity, and that's exactly what it does. Neuronical able to take down that player from tower, opening up the backside for Vetra to move forward. Monster pulling players out towards A with his push on plat, just showing you how spacing is so important to your success on a map.
Cool. You know what's important though? Shutting down the overshield. Vetra with the OS nearly got a takedown, but then the collapse from from Native came through, and even with the overshield to work with, Vetra did not come out with any slays. Instead, the team damage from Native are going to take him down, and with that, it's a tie game, 15-all.
I think we're revising the old children's tale. I think it's the big bad piggy that blew the house down, because he comes out 8-4, double positive to start this game, and he's been just really finding his way into the back entrances of Complexity. The flanks have been just exposed time and time again, and Piggy's been a player that's really taken advantage, as we see Complexity get the sniper. So, you know, all that damage that Piggy was able to do in this early game might be null and void if Monster's able to hit the critical shots.
Well, Monster does get the body shot and the melee cleanup there on Piggy as he approached the tower side. So Monster with the sniper in hand, and it looks like it's Vetra, if I'm not mistaken, next to him with the heat wave to work with. They're predicting this spawn. Here's Piggy back of B. See the ping coming through. Meanwhile, a little 2v2 action happening. Cycle gets one pick, and now Monster rotating over, trying to help, but he's gonna arrive too late. And if he's smart, he dips out of this fight and resets for a fresher engagement. But on that attempt to fall back, he gets trapped. Complexity still hang on to a 5-point lead now after the combat goes back and forth, and the attention is starting to shift over to that third overshield, which is getting ready to spawn in.
This next overshield can be very determinative of what's going to happen in this game, and Vetra is going to be the one that puts it on, and already Complexity with their lead, it could grow as we see Vetra start to pick up all the goodies. And look at that, the bait came through. These players are trapped at Nest, and Vetra says, hey, this is a gift to me. Let me get the double real fast. And in fact, I don't think he saw it. Just Vetra's gameplay so fast, right? You can see him looking left, right, but he just missed a potential triple at bottom mid, but that overshield getting put into great use early on.
So Vetra maybe didn't utilize the OS the last round as well, but this round really showing how to put it to work. And Vetra himself sitting at 6 and 2 on the board, only 2 deaths, least so far in the game. And I hope I'm not jinxing that. He has his sights on Mines, who's playing that pillar, but Vetra picks off the kill, gets the killing spree, and wastes no time. What a clean double from Vetra.
Jay able to get the kill in the back, and that's going to provide great opportunity for Native to get back into this game. They found the spacing, Complexity trapped over towards scoreboard. As long as Native can find the opening pick, this could be a collapse and really tie up this game.
You know, I know this is a game 2 here, Tools, but I feel like this is a must win for Complexity. As far as like team morale goes, after what happened in the United series where they got reverse swept, I feel like they need to tie up the series here, or else it's going to be such an emotional battle for them to try to come back into it after it. So to me, it feels almost like a game 5. If Complexity can rally here and hold on to this slim 2-point lead, they're going to need that to stay neck and neck here with Native, and also to keep their morale, you know, a little glimmer of hope is what we need to see from Complexity.
I want to see Native really commit to a push right here. Find the opening pick, get in Complexity's face, and start dictating the pace of the game. If they can find this next couple of slays, they'll be able to get back on top of that overshield. But it's Monster who's plays spoiler at bottom mid, wins his gunfight, and Ironical goes down, but Complexity in a great position to get this overshield on, but Monster not able to get it on the body in time, and now it's up to Cycle to go big as he gets 2 overshield still in action as it's down in the bottom. It's Ironical and Cycle having to work with each other to keep Native, and it's Vetra on the flank. Piggy could not stay alive, and that's going to be a huge swing of the pendulum to Complexity's favor.
You know, the 4-point lead now feeling a lot more significant than when it was neck and neck 1 and 2, but you add to that the heat wave, the overshield that Cycle is rocking, and the sniper. That might just be it for Complexity. They have all the tools in their hands. What are they going to do? No pun intended. Ready to get it to work. You see Monster rotating back of B tower with Cycle. Vetra here in the garage looking for that pickup. Players up here to the right. It's Kratos around the corner. Vetra not able to connect. He's getting pressure from both sides. He does land that snipe body shot, enough for him to get the trade.
And now this is the most important moment of the game for Native. It's how you fight out of your spawn when you know you're trapped. And so far, Mine's getting a great angle of King J. They're working in tandem, and they're going to be able to find 2 with each other. And now just a 3-kill deficit, but what's more important is that bot spacing on the map. Now, not trapped at the back of B and A, they have an opportunity to reverse the situation onto Complexity as you start to see all those blue players start to congregate close to each other. If Native can find the pick, they can find the collapse.
Yeah, both teams kind of rotating in a clockwise position as you see Native taking over the Seaside Tower and even rotating over to OS side spawn, and Complexity going back into A. It's just a 2-point game yet again. That grenade from Monster is going to find the target, taking down Mines and increasing their lead to 3. But you see Kratos ready with the sniper, and he lines up that headshot quickly and efficiently to take down the kill.
Overshield's gonna be so important here. We saw Mines back to back as push toward that overshield has gotten picked out by Complexity, but Kratos could be the saving factor as he has the sniper rifle to work with. They're trying to strong arm their way into overshield. Piggy gets it on the body. Vetra on the flank once again. Vetra gets a massive pick at the end. Complexity now just need 1 kill, but Piggy can play spoiler and overshield in hand, but they have to be careful about how they decide to push this, and it's all up to Piggy. He's going to be the player that either wins this game for his team or becomes that final death. You have to count on him to make the play, and Complexity being careful. I think Piggy's going to hear those players underneath. He's going to know the flank's coming from under. Piggy's kind of start to go in. Piggy has both these players in his action. He's taking some heavy damages, and he cannot stay alive. Tough look for Native. They are able to get that overshield, but just too much to ask as all 4 players of Complexity were ready for the push.
Oh man, I wanted to see Piggy come through clutch with that overshield play, but in the end, Complexity are able to clutch up when they need to tie up this series. That final play, you saw Mines with the sniper, Piggy with the overshield, but Complexity playing the patient game in the back of A ends up paying off. I think it's Monster and Cycle who team shoot down Piggy for the final kill.
it's tough. I mean, you know, let's rewind this one a little bit. Louis, let's take a look at this final push and see what they could have done just a little bit differently. So starting here, where Piggy has this overshield, right? You see all these players congregating at back tower. You have to make a decision right here. There's no game time pressure. It's, are you gonna let Piggy push forward the overshield and try to use that as an advantage to get your kills, or are you gonna make Complexity push into you? They take too long to decide this decision. Look at Piggy's overshield. It's basically over halfway gone by the time they make the decision. They need to be quicker on that push if they wanted to use that overshield advantage. Now, finally, the play starts to come through. The nade comes through. That's going to indicate the Complexity that, hey, the push is coming. And then two players get right on top of each other. They make sure to prioritize the same target and take Piggy out. One thing I maybe would have changed on that push is, instead of throwing that opening grenade that didn't hit anything, be a little bit more careful with it. Let Piggy come in, find information for the team, and then maybe try to find a different way to push through. Piggy did have information. He heard footsteps underneath him at sandbags. With that information, he could have told the team, hey, I think they're pushing down into sandbags. He could have jumped out towards key door, have a player jump out, the sniper player go back towards tower, go to the underneath tunnels, and try to create a pinch and a collapse down in the tunnels. All they really needed was to get one kill. They didn't need to win the game on that push. They needed to tie the game on that push. And instead, the overshield quickly melted by Complexity, making sure that they played that buddy system with each other. Two BRs trained, and they get the kill.
Yo, can we just say GG's to Tools with this breakdown? You did this in an earlier series alongside Shyway, where you're kind of running back the replay and just bringing the, you know, second by second, frame by frame analysis, and it really adds so much to these games because there's so much happening at any given moment. So you have somebody like Tools here to break down what was important, what could have gone differently. I mean, it just adds a whole nother layer to this tournament. So I have to give credit to that. And the only thing I could even, you know, think to add to that was also Mines with the use of the sniper had the equalizer in hand. If they had used Piggy with the overshield to maybe try to draw out some players and give Mines a shot with that sniper to even up the scoreboard, that's kind of how I would have seen that playing out, especially once that overshield was below, you know, half charge by the time he made the push. It was too late. Better to rely on a sniper play from Mines.
Yeah, I think at the end of the day, it comes down to Native just giving Complexity too much time to respond at the end of the day, and that overshield becoming pretty useless by the time they decide to get into that fight. But here we go. We're in game number 4 between Pioneers and G2. Barcode trying to keep his series undefeated in North America, and it looks like they're down right now against the Pioneers 3-2. This G2 roster, very interesting. Barcode's been playing phenomenal Halo today. We'll keep an eye on this as we wait for our next game to load on up.
You know, I have to say that G2, if there's a team to pick out so early on in this tournament as being maybe playing above their expected level, I would have to say it's G2. They've been coming out with some huge moments. Barcode just fitting this roster like a glove. Seeing a lot of Barcode fans showing up, and you love to see it. Meanwhile, when you're on the side of Pioneers, that upset that the Lions, I believe it was, took on them in round number 1, that's going to be in the back of their mind and really needing to come back in this series to get that bracket position that they want. A lot on the line for both of those teams in this matchup.
Yeah, and well, Pioneers able to make it 4-2 before we hop off as our game 3 is loading. And that looks like it has game 5 written all over it. And last time we saw game 5, the Pioneers weren't able to clutch up their pool play. Very much on the line. With Lions winning that game versus KCP, we can see KCP take 3rd in that pool if they don't beat G2.
Tough spot there for KCP, and they're going to keep fighting through on that series, but this game 3 is not going to wait. It's King of the Hill on recharge. Complexity have tied up the series 1-1. Game number 1 so decisive from Native, coming out on that stronghold streaks. I want to see if they can bring that objective efficiency back in game number 3.
King of the Hill, so important to make sure that you're controlling spawns first. That's priority. The hill time, it can wait. Making sure that you have the ideal spawns will make this game so much easier for you, on top of getting the camouflage away. See Piggy X get into C plat. They need to fight through this tower, get these kills, and push to get A spawns as well as C.
Great little play there with Kratos team fire. You let Kratos jump out and take the attention and lets the camo come in for the cleanup on the kill there. That was just well executed on the side of Native. But now Piggy holding onto the zone gets found out as the few seconds left on his camo gets deleted. Almost half the hill captured there from that early start from Native. But Vetra is putting up a fight, already has 3 kills, unable to escape though as King J tracks him down.
And KJ able to get right back into that fight, got that bottom A spawn, but he needs to win a massive fight, and he takes down Monster, give him a couple clips to know what's up. As Cycle will be the only player left in position for his Complexity roster to really make a play. And he gets taken down, and eventually the fight is won by Complexity, but Mind staying alive is huge. Him and Kratos need to try to make as much value as possible out of their lives at back C. That's not going to happen. And finally, we start to see some momentum for Complexity. Piggy getting that A spawn. They know the A spawns are there. They need to finish this fight. They need to collapse in. They cannot let these players get out of A for free.
Monster using every single grenade, had 4 to work with to kind of defend Whirlpool, ends up getting the double kill, but is taken down. The next winner of this hill might just get that first capture on the board as both teams have the majority of the hill, and it looks like Vetra, if he can lock this down, just a few seconds away, but a trade is not going to be enough. Both teams almost desperate into the hill at this point. There's active camo sitting there, so tantalizing in the middle of the hill as well.
I'm on the body of Piggy. Now this is so close for Native. If they can get 1 round of slays, they should get enough time to be able to take away this first hill. But it's the nades that bounce Piggy out, and it's gonna allow Complexity to try to make a push. Cycle and Vetra working together. Cycle finds 2, Vetra gonna find the 3rd. It's an easy break for Complexity as King J tries to play heroics, but the rest of Complexity quick to refill the hill, and suddenly you see Native, they're in trouble. They're all getting lined up on the spawn. They're gonna go down, and at the worst possible time. Now you got hill 2 coming up, and this is what we call a money hill, right? If you can get your setup, it is so easy to capture this hill, and that's exactly what's happened. Native, we're all on the respawn screen, and this is going to make it so much easier for Complexity to predict the pushes. But so far, Native get the opening pick, and they could find a break as Kratos looks to go underneath.
I would have loved to see Native on the tail end of that first hill, knowing that Complexity had the positioning to capture it. Instead of pushing forward through blue pipes, instead rotate backwards and just start posting up for the second hill. But since Complexity finished the first hill, they also had the spawn lock there on Native, and they are not letting it go. Mind's trying to break it up though with a shock rifle in hand, hits some nice targets. He's playing some defense and looking for the next play. Also a repulsor. Do we see a Mind the Gap potential here? Neuronical in his sights. He gets the 1 repulsor play, 1 Mind the Gap comes through.
It has been impressive by Native the way that they've been able to break into this hill, find their time. And now they just need to get 1 more round of slays, but a Cycle is trying to make all the difference. He doesn't have time. No, he gets zoned out by that nade, and although he finds 3, it's for naught as the hill does go over to Native Gaming. And Cycle, I mean, he's making plays with this shock rifle and is setting his team up for the next hill, but you got to be just a little bit more aggressive with that if you want to try to stop that hill from getting captured.
I like I feel like you put on a top hat and a monocle there for a minute, Tools. 'Tis for naught that he has achieved the triple kill, but you're right. The triple kill was very flashy on the screen, but it's not enough for him to secure the capture. In fact, a defensive grenade almost being more effective than 3 kills on the board.
And already Mind's getting this camouflage. This is going to be a great opportunity for Native to get back this hill control. Cycle is spawning all the way across. He goes down. The crosses are situated. Essentially, Native have a giant L on the map, and they're trying to force Complexity into tower and force them to shoot through the cross shots of Piggy in order to get towards hill. And this is such an effective setup as it's gonna create massive damage to Complexity before they're even trying to be able to contest this hill. And you can see all of them falling. Once again, Complexity last alive is Cycle. They have to kill the cross first and then try to make their way to hill, but it's too late. 2-1 lead for Native Gaming.
Yeah, when you have that crossfire locked in, even if a player can break through to the hill, they're half health at best. And then the last defender who's locking on the hill gets a, you know, an easy kill to clean up. And that's what was happening there for Native Gaming. Great positioning as they lock down that hill. Now they're up 2-1. The fight's going on at the back of C. Players going down from both sides. We have 2 players up for Native and 2 for Complexity. Cycle inching his way closer to the hill, but he knows King J is here. Goes in for the melee, connects, not enough. I think King J now is going to be able to play his life and then re-attack the hill. But Monster not giving him much time, barely recharged that health before Monster was ready to take down the kill. This is just a brawl at the back of C.
What's most important on the map right now is getting these spawns. Native have done a beautiful job at making sure that what they prioritize is getting the most efficient spawn to get back into action, right? So we've seen them getting focusing on long haul glass spawns.
Yep.
And what that does is even if they're losing the fights, you know, 2-3, they're spawning up and they're able to get back into engagements faster than Complexity, and it's kept Complexity off this hill thus far. And you see Kratos once again, he gets the glass spawn. Look how fast he is back into this action. He's ready to get back into that fight. Unfortunately, you know, hit right connection doesn't go his way, but it's those kind of plays that are making it hard for Complexity to get hill time.
I feel the pain there as the shock rifle from Kratos doesn't connect on the target, but Monster scoops it up, and now this hill has been so much back and forth. Neither team really committing to hill time because, like you said, Tools, they're more aware of map positioning, spawn control, and the hill itself is secondary to all of that. It's easy hill time if you can lock down the map, and Vetra connecting with the shock rifle. Honestly, one of my favorite just kills in the game, to get that perfect with the shock rifle, lasering out across, and now dipping back, looking for the next target. Some good hill time here from Complexity, and Vetra, just a wave of force, locking down targets left, right, and center. Picks off another one before dropping back for a quick reload.
That's the shock rifle that's made all the difference in this hill so far. Vetra able to find these opening picks. It's just keeping them at bay as he's just going ham with the shock rifle. Mines will be the final one to fall, and this hill going towards Complexity's favor as Vetra has 2 more shots in this shock rifle, and he could use them maybe to get himself towards back A. Camouflage coming up in 3 seconds. Hill rotating in a turbine. And what's most important right here, you have to control the back A spawns. The fight really takes place in that back room rather than the hill.
Okay, so where Vetra was taken down there, the top of lift, that's kind of the area of control. And you can see Monster and Mine's gonna end up in a little 1v1, but Monster with active camo gets some free damage, and then with the help of Cycle, who cleans up that kill. So if you're correct, then Cycle would rotate to that top A area to kind of give some cover fire, is what we would expect as Monster locks down the hill. And look at that, Tools, it's happening just as you spelled out.
Yeah, it's so important to make sure you have this A control. Kratos, he's gonna try his best to get through, but it's what's so effective, right? Is even if they try to break through A, you have that player in Turbine who can just sit on needles and watch that as a cross as well. And as long as you're holding A spawns, why it's important is even if you're dying, as long as your teammates are spawning at A, you have direct access back into hill. And that's what makes A spawn so important, because you want to be able to have quick refill access. And that's why you consistently see Vetra pushing back towards A. And that's why you see a lot of the pressure mounting back towards A. Whoever controls A on this hill controls the game.
You know, I'm a believer in free refills. So if controlling the A side is what you need to do to be able to refill your teammates as they spawn close enough to help you out on the hill quickly. I mean, it worked out textbook style as you were breaking it down right there. And now Cycle putting some big kills and good numbers up on the board, leading the way with 22, gets the double kill right there, ends up as a trade. But here we go. Hill number 6 is resetting back at the top, and it is just a mosh pit of grenades.
This is what's so important. Native Gaming, they don't have any more opportunities to goof up. This is their last chance, and already Complexity, you see how easy it was. They had C and A control. Camo gonna go into their hands, and A little bit of an iffy play right there. I think Vetra could have stayed at C plat and played a little bit more patient on that camouflage, let his teammates get there. That way he couldn't feel, the only way that they could pressure him was from up top, in which his teammates would have the cross. Though at the end of the day, Vetra gets the trade on the camouflage. He doesn't let it switch hands, which is enough for his team to consistently get back and make this a little bit more dicey, as we see Native go 2 down and King J gonna have to wait for his teammates to respawn.
And we're at the part of the game where not just the hill is the center of attention, but also the clock. We're below 1 minute. If someone's staying on the hill, the clock will freeze, similar to kind of like an oddball style. But when the hill is left neutral, the clock ticks down. So it'll be interesting to see the decisions from Complexity. If they go full force for the capture, if they play a stall to just burn that time left on the clock. Kratos does not want that to happen. He makes a quick rotation through long haul, gets a hit on a target. Some more damage here on a second, just barely over the head of Cycle. What looked like was lined up for a perfect, and now Cycle adding insult to injury with the use of that shock rifle.
Well, Cycle had a clear goal in mind. He said, get the shock rifle, hit the headshot. That's all I have to do. He played ring around the rosy, and well, the pockets are full of headshots as he's able to get that shock rifle back in the hands, gets the kill, buys more time, and that's all Complexity have to do right here. Buy time, keep him off hill. 17 seconds and counting for Complexity to win this round, and you see them, none of them dropping into hill. They control both A and C spawns, and by the time Native even has an opportunity to drop into that hill, the game's essentially over.
Ruining my childhood tools. First it was the Big Bad Wolf remake, and now Ring Around the Rosie, just changing up the lyrics to your whim, but it's okay, we're here for it. Anything that's Halo related, we'll take it. Off of the respawn there, Cycle is shut down, so we see a good answer back from Native, but it's sudden death. They need to keep a body on that hill to keep the sudden death timer alive. They might have use of the active camo, and Mines with the C platform position needing to stay alive, but double team. Monster dropping down into the pit. King J needs to win that kill. Is there enough time for them to hold on to the hill?
They still have time. They still have time to get in. Mines has to run, just beeline down into that hill. The nades are there. The nades connect, but did it reset the timer in time? Yes, they're in. They're in. Piggy needs to stay alive. He's trying his best. Hill goes down, and game is over. Native tried their best, but Complexity just showing how much of an advantage it is to have a hill lead going in to the middle hill. They get the job done. Native tried their best, but fall short.
Love to see Native playing all the way up to that final whistle, if you will, you know, really playing the sudden death to those final seconds, but it does come to time, and wow, Cycle put up some huge numbers here on the scoreboard.
Yeah, Cycle definitely had his moments in the slaying department. I would say I think that's a deceptive stat line, because Cycle popped off early on in the game, but I think he was getting a lot of useless kills to start, and I think he cleaned up his game quite a bit towards the end, and where he had more impactful kills towards the end of that game, which make a big difference. But oftentimes you can definitely overinflate your kills on this map if you're not playing, I'd say, like, technically correct Halo. But I think the way that Cycle ended that game was very good.
You know, I think as far as technical Halo is concerned, I think it came down to that Whirlpool hill that you well broke down, right? With the A-side control coming out from Complexity. That's where I really felt the shift of tides over into Complexity's favor, when they locked down that hill with almost a death grip and didn't let go. I think that was the critical moments, and then here at the end, Complexity able to just buy enough time, burn off the clock, to be able to come ahead in the game 3-2, and then as well in the series, coming back after the first game loss with back-to-back wins.
It's gonna be a tough matchup for Native right here. I mean, King of the Hill not gonna be, I mean, not King of the Hill, capture the flag on Aquarius is always gonna be a tough matchup for them. And right now we have a game 5 between Pioneers and G2, and well, G2 dangerously close to getting reverse swept right here, as we see a 10 kill lead for Pioneers.
Wait, is this the story of Pioneers, the reverse sweeps. You know, first EU took the reverse sweep on them, and now are they trying to flip the script and do the same back to G2? I mean, that would be something pretty fantastic if they're able to pull this one off. Right now they're ahead in the game 39-28, if I'm reading this correctly. A nice 11-point lead, but still time for G2 to work their way back in the game. 40-30 looks like the scoreline to me.
That's getting far from over right now. As long as G2 can find a clean wipe and get these players on a respawn, they can get themselves back into this game. But the way Pioneers have to play, I mean, they can just stay on top of each other, make sure that they play for trades, and it can be easy. It's not going to be an easy task for G2, but still, they are capable.
Now, it looks like not the best game so far for Barcode, who has been playing so well throughout today's pool play on the side of G2. But then you're looking at the Pioneer side, both Nick and Talik putting up some really big numbers, not just a huge number of kills, but also limiting their number of deaths, which is just as important when it is a team slayer. They're holding on to that 10-point lead, 2 more kills going back and forth. Pioneers at this stage of the game happy to trade out those kills.
This is just so tough. I mean, I'm trying to find a way for G2 to get back in. They're just going to have to find a 3 or 4 down, and that's just going to come down from winning some critical one-on-one fights. We'll have to keep that one updated as we go on with today, and that's a tough. That could be a heartbreaker for G2. I mean, up 2-0 in that series. If they win that game, they basically confirm seed 1, top seed for them in the elimination in the winners bracket. Instead, Pioneers trying to find their pool play life back, as they were dangerously close to seeing a third place finish in their pool if they would have lost that series.
And that game that we were just spying on is Pool D, Pioneers versus G2. So we'll keep an update on what happens there. But meanwhile, we're moving into Game 4 right here, right now, where Native Gaming have one more shot at taking down Complexity. After taking game number 1, back-to-back losses on the side of Native. So they need to find some momentum seemingly out of nowhere. But Piggy being the first player to grab a flag and rotating it across, hopefully to put that first capture on the board.
Big plays from Native right there, right? They prioritize map positioning rather than kills, and they were able to clear out the car lane, and they decided to try to run through. Although, you can't not get kills for too long, as we finally see the finish come through, and the flag is returned. You guys can see in your PNP right there, Pioneers versus G2 coming towards its conclusion. We'll keep that up just so we can keep an eye on it and see who's going to win that game 5.
Kratos connects with the grenade, gets the shutdown on the flag run, at least for now, and then doing a 180, comes back, deals with Monster, gets the flag out. Probably more of a stall tactic at this point, hoping that teammates can come through and help with the return. But this reset very close. Neuronical getting some time on the clock, and Vetra punches in the first capture for Complexity. So even though Piggy might have had first hands on a flag, Complexity are putting the first point on the board.
That's a crazy fast response from Complexity too, because Native, they were the ones that got the flag out and almost home, like right off rip, and instead Complexity find the kills, get back in position, and counter cap. And that's the efficient gameplay that you'd like to see from a squad that many are touting as top 6 potential.
I'm trying so hard. I'm so distracted by the picture-in-picture happening right here. It looks like Pioneers are just a couple of kills away from taking that game 5, but King J in the meantime wasting no time, and I like that from Native. They seem to bounce back really quickly in each of these games. If it doesn't go in their favor, they seem to respond right back. Gets the flag to about that 50-yard line. Vetra rotating over. Vetra and Monster last alive on the side of Complexity, but Kratos with a huge kill turns it into a double kill with the use of the active camo.
Kratos able to get away with that camo is going to be big for their team, tying it up, essentially getting them back to even, and Kratos has an opportunity. Ooh, the slow play. Oh, if Kratos would have been just a little bit more patient there, he could have maybe gotten a potential double kill, and it looks like the Pioneers do complete the reverse sweep, and although G2 tried their best to get back into that game, it's going to be the Pioneers who tie up the pools, and now suddenly Pool D, I don't know who's going to get first in that. It's looking crazy over there.
Yeah, Pool D is definitely some really close and exciting matchups. So we'll try to keep you updated on as much as we can because there's so much Halo happening today. And on a Friday, I mean, I'm loving this. This is the dream right now. Neurotical trying to create a dream here for Complexity if they can seal this game and this series off of the back of a win. But 2 kills come through for Native, and now all of a sudden, Neurotical finding himself in a tough position, potentially a 1v2, opts to back off Play Life, and now looking for King J, but shot in the back by Kratos.
That flag is ready for Piggy to try to continue on. But Vetra and Cycle working with each other to keep them away for now. Oh, Cycle misses a critical shot. That's going to make him weak enough for the trade to come through, and that's going to slow down Native quite a bit as Complexity looks to recover towards utility. And I mean, Monster's a big player right here. It looks like he's going to get taken down, and Camouflage is coming up, and Native look to have the better positioning.
Yeah, Native really locked down that top mid positioning, and they keeping it locked down. As Kratos hits double digits with the on the back of that perfect kill, and now Mines with the active camo, not overcommitting to any one target, but kind of softening up players left and right, hoping that teammates can come through with the finishing shots for the kills. But those grenades are going to keep him suppressed. He's ducked back to this corner, going in for the back smack, and now he's locking onto Monster. Doesn't come out with a double kill, but still a nice little sneaky stealth active camo play.
Everyone's still just looking for that break where they can get through, and Piggy has a really good opportunity here to find himself on a flank that could be massively effective. But the problem is his teammates aren't keeping up their end of the bargain. They gotta win their fights on the other side, and it's gonna just give too much space to Complexity, and it makes it so that Piggy gets caught out on that rotation. It's high risk, high reward plays that Native keeps taking, and unfortunately for them, they just haven't been on top of those rotations. Oh my God, ooh, a little over.
Oh, I was hoping, I was holding my breath for a minute there once that triple came in and the next target was right in front, but unfortunately just short of the overkill. And now Cycle going in for the reset. So Native Gaming, they had that top mid control, they used it to get to the flag, but they were cut short. Complexity's defense answers back, and they piggyback that right into a nice offensive push. Neurotical sprinting with the flag, rotating it so quickly, shut down by a few grenades, but the flag is sitting here at the bottom of utility, up for grabs from either team. The trade comes through with Piggy and Monster. Is there anyone close enough to get their hands on the flag? King J is trying to prevent it, but no, the touch came through from Cycle before King J could take him down.
Both these players weak on that flag, and it's touched at the nick of time. Monster comes in for the top rope. He throws it over. Flag still there. Piggy has to play heroics. He gets the flag out, just buy enough time for his teammates maybe to come off respawn, but Cycle gets it back to safety. And, oh, we thought it was safe, but it's Kratos from the back with the camouflage, able to get 2. Both flags away. We're in a stalemate.
What a huge play happening there in utility room, and then Monster rotating the flag back to a more defensible position. But meanwhile, Piggy on the other side also making a clutch play, grabbing the opponent's flag, dumping it out so they can't get the capture. And just like that, we're on a little bit of a flag standoff. Both flags in the back of the team bases, but not able to capture until the reset can come through.
Already Kratos trying to do his best to play defense, but you can see the Complexity just yeah, we know you're there. We're gonna come get you, and we're gonna be able to play our game. And now King J finds himself by his lonesome in that back base. Kratos comes off respawn. It's basically a 2v2 as King J tries his best to stay alive. Monster gonna be able to get the kill. Can he stay alive is the question. I love how aggressive he is back into that fight. Double hop the re, but it's not enough. Mines comes in at the last second to stop the return.
Oh, the sleighs back and forth. One flag getting close to the reset, but they just keep on getting that last second touch. This capture right here could very well just be the game-winning capture with how much both teams have invested in getting the second capture on the board, but they're playing full speed ahead on both sides of the map. Now on board with Piggy, trying to lock sights on Cycle, get some damage, also add some damage onto Monster. Two players softened up. We have Camo coming in 2 seconds. King J does get a cleanup, but Piggy finds himself in a double team, is taken down. The fight goes for Camo, Kratos and Cycle in a bit of a 1v1. Cycle comes out with the perfect kill.
And at the end of the day, Complexity is just starting to win the gunfights. It's too much for Native to consistently have to come off their respawn and deal with this pressure, as Vetra will be the one that eventually breaks the Camel's back. The flag should go in as Monster will capture it, and it's a 2-1 lead for Complexity.
The amount of resources that Complexity poured into getting that flag reset, and they are rewarded with what could just be the game-winning capture. Definitely a shift of momentum as both teams were giving it their all, playing it like it was an overtime capture, as if that was game over, but it's not over yet. Native still have a chance to respond back. You see them working their way quickly to the flag. Piggy once again being the flag runner, and King J with some great position top and mid, but Cycle's looking to do some damage with the use of those grenades. I think that Piggy holds that top mid position. However, that kill, second kill, so crucial. Piggy's able to run the flag the full length of the map and tie up at 2 apiece.
Not only did they get the flag in, they immediately won the slays on the clapback. So it's immediate that Native Gaming's gonna have an opportunity to get into this base and pull another flag. I mean, look at their positions. They're all over this map, and it's great defense from Monster to at least get 2. And Neurotical went on the heavy overextend. He was able to get behind enemy lines. He has a pull of his own. And now if his teammates can win their fights on the way back, this could be a quick counter for Complexity.
Great flag run coming through from that overextension. Now Kratos trying to do everything by tossing the grenade. That's not going to be enough. Complexity dunk in that third flag. There's just over 2 minutes left on the clock. But Monster with some active camo, if I'm not mistaken, to work with. Rotating through for the capture. Gets a quick touch, tosses it out, and like the little fadeaway BR burst to clean up the mines at the top center. Monster trying to do it all, rotating the flag and cleaning up kills at the same time.
And it's Complexity who's finding flag runs through negative space. I mean, every time that you think Native Gaming has the control of the map, has control of the spawns, has the pressure needed, it's, you know, Monster, it's Neurotical who find their way behind enemy lines, pulling flags, getting them away. And now suddenly what looked like a tied game is 4-2 in favor of Complexity. Only a minute 20 to work with, and Monster gets the camo as well. Everything going wrong for Native.
The only thing in their favor right now is a little bit of a map position, but Neurotical's trying to steal it. Mines does get the melee, and Piggy being once again the flag runner. They need to dunk this flag, and they need to score it quickly with just over a minute left. And you see that Piggy is moving with some sense of urgency. That capture, that answer back was quick, but was it enough?
These next few slays are going to be important for Native, and King J, he gets the trade, but need to stay alive as Piggy's going to be the one that leads the charge once again. He will be able to get this flag out. Question is how far. Oh my god, he went back for the fight for Vetra. Was not expecting that, because he's able to take down one more. But now the time, it's just playing a massive factor in this game. You only have 30 seconds to get a flag out of that base, and the defense that Monster and Neurotical are playing is so strong, as now it's up to King J to make the play. He finds the first. He's waiting for a second, but you can see Complexity, they don't feel the need to move out of their base at all, playing hyper defensive as this final flag needs to get pulled in the last 10 seconds.
Every kill that Complexity were getting right there was buying them more time on the clock. We saw it happening in game number 3 as well, where the clock works in the side of Complexity, and with that, the series as well.
I mean, it came from the overextensions of Complexity and their ability to get behind enemy lines and find spacing while down numbers is tippable. I mean, the way that Neuronical was able to find that flag cap, even though you look at his stat line and it doesn't look that impressive, he's the reason they won that game.
Yep.
A heads up play from Neuronical that makes all the difference. Everything was going right for Native. They had 3 down. They had position on the map. They were ready to get a flag cap of their own. And then suddenly Neuronical comes out of nowhere, pulls a flag away and gets it in for his team.
Some huge plays coming out from Complexity. I mean, I'll just remember the score being 1-1 and then both flags being out. There were some huge, very clutch moments happening, but in the end, Complexity won out not only that flag, but then carried it forward through the rest of the game. You have to give credit to Native, though. Definitely not a team to sleep on. If you're looking at them coming up in the bracket tomorrow, they might still have another upset left in them, even if they couldn't pull it off right here against Complexity.
I want to see if we can maybe get to where I want to be, Louis. I want to get towards when the game is tied and maybe see how Neuronical got behind enemy lines. We'll go through these replays and see if we can eventually get there as we see all the desperation plays, the final grabs, the moments in this game that made the difference. I mean, right there, I mean, getting that flag at the last second, Monster, and eventually that one does turn into a flag capture.
Yeah, way down the line. Like that play from Monster was huge, but I think it was answered back by Piggy just sprinting through the base and then dumping the Complexity flag out at the same time. So it did pay off, though, for Monster to come through with that quick grab and that toss up to the bridge.
Yeah, eventually the Scammo goes through. And then it was Vetcher who gets the double kill in this back base over here that eventually gets them this flag return. But then Piggy finds a quick response after. And here we go. Right over here is when we start to see things get a little bit mixy. If we want to rewind that just a little bit, and we'll show you what's really important. Oh, we missed it. We'll see
you were talking about Neuronical overextending
we'll
and rotating behind the base.
Yeah, so right here, right? So let's pause it for a second. Let's go back to when he's on top of that base. And let's take a little pause for a second and just take a look at the rotation. So right here, you see Neuronical all the way back at that flag. He was the last player alive, and you see the rest of Native have great position. You have Mines at top mid. You have a player flanking from the left and right of Monster. And this shows you high spacing is so important in the game. Neuronical has essentially cheated a couple of steps and have gotten behind enemy lines. And because he's able to work with Monster getting this cross at the same time, this is going to give him advanced timing. This is going to give him the best possible timing. They get one pick, he's going to pull the flag out away. Now, Monster goes clutch and gets this big kill on Kratos. That means it's eventually going to be 3 down that go for Native, but on top of those players going down, the rest of the team is already pushed towards Complexity's base.
Yeah.
Right? So they don't have any ability to stop the flag run of Neuronical. They don't have any way to get the shots on, and because of that timing of him being in that back base, pulling while those kills went down, it allows Neuronical to get this flag all the way back to the base, and by the time the spawners come up, it's too late. Neuronical has no pressure on him, and it's an easy flag cap for them to get in. A masterful play by Neuronical to find his way behind enemy lines.
And as far as I can tell from that breakdown, it wasn't even like with the use of active camo like you might think. I think it was just a smart rotation, some team fire, and then a quick run of the flag across the map. But Neuronical definitely with that capture being a difference maker for Complexity, and they come out with winning that series